Ciccio. I am the Ice Emperor. I have made many sets of these tires, probably coming up to 30 pairs or 35 pairs in my life. I would like to start with a few pointers. Number one would be our choice of bike and wheel. So we need a certain amount of spacing so that the studded tires do not chew the frame. You can see that there's a lot more clearance here, so this would totally accommodate a studded tire. And again, in the bridge without the fender, again, it will show you that there'll be enough clearance. And again, on the front fork, it does have the fender and the brake, but if you were to remove this fender, you would see that there would still be almost a ½ inch, so this would work again. So you'll have to first determine the tire rim frame combo that you're going to use so that your efforts aren't thwarted. One of the things I found over time was the pattern is very critical. If you just put the screws in all lasky daisco, then in the corners, which are the most critical moments, then the spacing that's uneven will give you an uneven cornering ability, which is then very severe. So what I have come up with for efficiency is I made these wooden templates that allow the tire to be slid on it. And then I do a two-part process where I have a very thin drill bit, and I have, in this case, I have these number 4 pan head, and these are quarters, and I have another set of 3/8, so I can choose which ones are going to work better for my application. The reason why I go pan head is that there's less edge on the inside, which is the problem, is the flats. If you have a regular wood screw, these are meant to countersink into wood, and this won't countersink into the rubber, so then there'll be that much of the head sticking out, and then when the heads rub against each other, that will actually cause a puncture, and then you're out of the race. So one of the main things about the studding the tire is to come up with no puncture. So what I've done for that is I have lined my tire with another tire. So then this allows me to race without getting flats, which is kind of critical. I like also a tire that has some tread, which will allow me to follow a pattern. So I'll pre-drill from the outside, and I'll time it with in between these little indentations. So I'll put one in there, and then I'll offset it, and I will put one in there. The drilling allows more precise placement of the screws when you get to that stage. I do like starting at the outermost edge because in cornering, that is the critical line. I do want to mention it's really good to be patient because you will be at this for a while. 300 studs in a tire allows you to ride on the ice. 500 to 600 allow you to be competitive, and 800 or more may allow you to actually win. Now, it may sound like a lot, and it will weigh a lot, but it's all about increasing this friction. Without these things sticking into the ice, you will not be able to stay on the ice, you will be sliding. So test them. It's really good to test them before you get to this race. These tires all have one thing in common. There's cotton belts that go through it. With a higher TPI, higher pressure tire, it'll hold together longer. These tires only last so long. I do recommend getting brand new tires. I know that sounds a little costly, but there's nothing worse than using an old tire, and then by putting all the screws through, you severely weaken it, and then when you add the pressure, it just blows it up, which I have seen a couple of times. So it's worth buying cheap or economical tires that you can get away with, and then from that, once you place them, you have your permanent set of tires. This race only comes around once a year, which is a bit of a shame, but that's just the way it is.